The Curse of Oak Island Season 12, Episode 20 Recap. Rick Lagina loses hope after Shaft 6 disappointment. The treasure hunt on the Curse of Oak Island took another emotional turn in Season 12, Episode 20, as Rick Lagina struggled with disappointment. After weeks of effort and high hopes pinned on the newly constructed Shaft 6, the dig once again came up empty. The failed excavation adds to a growing list of frustrations for Rick, who has remained one of the most passionate believers in the Oak Island mystery. Marty Lagina, ever the optimist, tries to keep the team motivated by shifting focus to a promising new theory. Meanwhile, discoveries in the swamp and on Lot 5 continue to build a case for historical ties to secretive religious orders. From ancient maps to mysterious artifacts, the evidence suggests Oak Island's past may be far richer than anyone imagined. Shaft 6 yields nothing as the solution channel theory gains momentum. With high hopes, the Fellowship of the Dig installed a new caisson known as RP3 near RP1 and RP2, both of which had previously uncovered promising timber associated with the original money pit. Rick was convinced that this new shaft, dubbed Shaft 6, could finally hold the treasure. However, as the excavation came up empty once again, Rick appeared disheartened. Marty Lagina noticed his brother's mood and tried to lift his spirits, pointing toward the solution channel, a natural or man-made channel believed by some to have caused the treasure to drift away from its original hiding place. Marty's growing belief is that any valuables once stored in the money pit may have fallen into this channel. Swamp Dig uncovers potential remnants of Fred Nolan's wall. Elsewhere on the island, the team uncovered a compelling artifact in the northern swamp. A wooden timber featuring what Gary Drayton initially identified as a wharf pin was later thought to possibly be a piece of Fred Nolan's legendary wall. Nolan had long theorized that the wall was constructed to help form the man-made swamp. A matching timber and surrounding boulders, appearing purposefully placed, add weight to the theory that the area was engineered by man. If verified, this could reshape the team's understanding of the island's historical landscape. Bees and Templar symbols point to Knights of Malta Link. In Lot 5, the team discovered another pink bead resembling one found earlier that may date back to the 17th century. This latest artifact supports an intriguing theory involving the Knights of Malta. Researcher John Edwards and historian Scott Clark previously presented 18th century texts and a hand-drawn map suggesting a link between the Knights Templar, the Knights of Malta, and Oak Island. The map depicted a structure eerily similar to the brick vault uncovered in the swamp. Moreover, a military button found in the same lot was nearly identical to those worn by the Knights of Malta, suggesting that these secretive organizations may have had a hand in hiding treasure on Oak Island. After more than a decade of relentless digging, sleepless nights, and tireless devotion to the mystery of Oak Island, Rick Lagina is facing a breaking point. The long-anticipated dig at Shaft 6, once hailed as their best chance yet at reaching the fabled treasure of the money pit, has ended not with a triumphant discovery, but with crushing disappointment. It wasn't supposed to be this way. For weeks, the Fellowship of the Dig had poured all their energy into Shaft 6, an ambitious excavation site placed precisely using the combined data from years of seismic scanning, metal detection, and historical triangulation. This shaft, they believed, was within mere feet of the original money pit. They were convinced that if anything remained of the legendary vault, Shaft 6 would reveal it. Instead, what they found was water, endless, unrelenting water. Each time they thought they were closing in, flood tunnels designed centuries ago defeated their every effort. The mighty caisson, designed to descend past layers of hard-packed clay and centuries of debris, met not treasure but collapse. The deeper they pushed, the more unstable the shaft became. Then came the day the hammer grab snagged on something below, something solid, something promising, but when it came up, it held only shattered timber and twisted iron. Not gold, not silver, not even the remnants of a long-lost chest. Just another false promise. The crew's mood shifted immediately. Craig Tester offered quiet reassurances, and Marty Lagina, ever the optimist and engineer at heart, tried to pivot to next steps. But for Rick, the weight of the moment hit differently. He stood alone at the edge of the muddy dig site, boots caped, hat low, hands on hips, silent, watching the water swirl in the shaft like a drain of dreams. His usual fire, his stoic determination that had carried the team through over a decade of searching, flickered dangerously. He finally muttered to no one in particular, his voice hollow. After all these years, In the war room later that day, the team gathered around a table littered with maps, sonar images, and old documents. Scott Barlow gave a rundown of the shaft's final structural readings. Charles Barkhouse tried to bring the conversation back to historical clues from the 1600s. But all eyes kept drifting toward Rick, who hadn't said a word since sitting down. "I think we're missing something," Marty finally said, glancing at his older brother. "There's always another clue." Rick didn't answer immediately. He just stared at an old drawing of the original Money Pit site, faded and torn from years of handling. Finally, he leaned back, eyes misty. "Or maybe we've already found everything there is to find." The words hung in the air like fog, chilling the room. The silence was thick. No one wanted to believe that Rick Lagina, the heart and soul of the Oak Island search, was losing hope. This wasn't just a man on a treasure hunt. This was a lifelong dream. A boy who read about Oak Island in a 1965 issue of Reader's Digest had grown into a man who poured everything into solving its riddle. And now, that man looked defeated. Later that night, as the crew packed up the dig site under a bruised sky, Jack Begley caught up with Rick near the swamp. "You okay?" he asked gently. Rick nodded slowly but didn't make eye contact. I thought it would feel different. I thought after all this time, we'd be closer. Not this." "You've never given up before," Jack said. "I've never felt this hollow before either," Rick replied, eyes scanning the horizon of the island that had consumed so many years of his life. Back at the interpretive center, fans had already begun speculating. News of Shaft 6's failure was starting to leak through social media, and the forums buzzed with debates. Had they gone too far? Was the treasure even real? Some supporters remained steadfast, encouraging the team to try Shaft 7 or return to Lot 5 where Roman coins had once been found. Others weren't so kind, accusing the team of chasing shadows. But the most heart-wrenching moment came when Rick, in a rare off-camera confession recorded by the production crew, sat alone with a handheld recorder. "I've always believed that Oak Island holds a secret," he said, his voice low, deliberate. "Maybe not gold, maybe not jewels, but something important. We found incredible artifacts, signs of ancient visitors, traces of lives that crossed this land long before we came along. But now I wonder if the true treasure of Oak Island is simply the journey, the people, the bonds, the pursuit of something bigger than ourselves. But part of me," his voice faltered, "part of me hoped for more." And that was the crux of it all. Rick Lagina didn't want riches. He wanted answers. He wanted truth. A few days passed. The team regrouped. Engineers reviewed data from other promising sites, Lot 32, the garden shaft, the unexplored tunnel leading off from the stone road near the swamp. But Rick remained subdued. That is, until Marty handed him a small, rough object pulled from the edge of Shaft 6 during cleanup. It looked like a simple rock at first, but upon closer inspection, it bore the faint carving of a cross, weathered, ancient. Rick turned it over in his hands, the fire returning just a little to his eyes. "We've missed something," he whispered. And just like that, hope sparked again. Faint, fragile, but alive.